Hello guys, welcome to a new video on Tower of God New World. And in this video, we're going to talk about the update that just came out last week on July 3rd and the new unit VARAGARV. But first, I just wanted to mention one thing. As you already know, we have a live stream coming up tomorrow on Friday. And what I wanted to do in this case, since I found a way to live translate the content from Korean to English. It will most likely be only visible to me, but I will read out what they're saying so that we're all on the same page. And I will also translate live the screenshot that they post. So yeah, I just wanted to mention to you guys that I will be going live tomorrow at the time of the live stream, probably like 5 minutes before, just to make sure we are all on the same page. And I will be translating all the Korean content in English, both the images we see and the things they talk about, so that we can have all the information immediately without having to wait for them to translate it, which I don't know why it takes them a really long time usually. So yeah, that's like the first thing I wanted to mention. Now we can move on to the update, which is the one that we got last week. And we have this new unit, which is a purple tank, VARAGARV. And the design of this guy is not really accurate with the manhwa, I would say, but it's still a nice design nonetheless. Yeah, I would say we can have a look at the skills inside the game. We don't really need to look at it from here, but yeah, okay. Then let's see just the new events that we got, and just the usual check-in, the boost mission, the Tower of Alliances, which actually I have to remember because they, like I'm recording this video on July 10 and I'm uploading it on July 11th. So that's why if you see this video, the Tower of Alliances is already over. Unless they, what, wait a second. Here they mentioned 13.7, but let me have a look because I think it expires now, like today on July 10, right? Yeah, 11 hours. I still have to do some floors, so I have to play it a bit more. But why does it say 13? Huh, weird. But okay, by the time this video is out, the event will already be over. So yeah, not much I can say about that. Then we have the strategy lesson. This one is not too bad, like the usual rewards. Unfortunately, like the amount of, where is that? The amount of revolution fragments and shining revolution fragments we get are quite low. It's like 750 3 times, and this is what 180 3 times. It is really nothing, but I'm buying that mainly. So my next buy will be these two, and afterwards I have no idea. But like it's not really there is much to be picked here. If you're lacking units, Uraha is a great one to get dupes for. Bomb, you probably have enough already, but that one is also a good one. In here, we only have Hiwa. The other two are not really that important. And in here, mostly Ghost and Horiang, but those are kind of niche. You don't really need them. And yeah, I would say the Revolution mats are your best buy here, and maybe some crystals with the leftovers. That's pretty much it. Okay, then we have the boss battle with Kunran, just additional coins every day, which is never a bad thing, and some additional gear. So I like that. And I don't really know which comp is best yet. I'm just randomly clearing it with the enough amount, like enough damage to get me the most amount of chests, and then over the last days I will try to find a better comp to at least get in the top 3 in my server. And yeah, just don't stress too much about it. As usual, the top spots are only for people that spend in the game and that have really, really good ignition weapons, etc. Then we have the lucky draw. I don't really like that. I don't know. I'm also quite unlucky. I'm only around, what is that, three-ish? Yeah, I'm around three. And again, like I think I did the whole 100 in the previous two as well, and here the same. So I really hate that. But the rewards, if we were to get to round 10, are not too bad. Like we get this 100 evolution ore plus a free selector, which will include new SSR plus teammates. Most likely the collab, not the collab, sorry, the anniversary units as well, since we don't have a dedicated banner, is probably going to be included in this. So yeah, that's definitely nice. The rest is just kind of trash, pretty much. But yeah, this round 10, which I have no idea how much you would have to spend to get there, because you cannot really get there unless you are lucky with the ones we get for free. But I don't know, not really that great, I would say. Then some miscellaneous things they did. They just increased the amount of master keys you can buy from the race shop, which is also kind of trash. I would say I still haven't bought anything here. And here the increase from 1 to 10 still kind of sucks for the amount of currency you have to invest there. And who would ever buy 10 keys over 100 of this revolution ore? I have no idea. Yeah, okay, but this store, really weird. We're not really getting a lot of resources unless we can score the top positions in the events they release. I hope they address that. Then what else? Yeah, I don't even know if this change affected anyone. I don't think anybody bought the master keys from the race shop event for the maintenance, whatever. Some improvements that we already talked about in the dev notes video. They shared more information on exactly what the increase is. So we get 10 revolution fragments more every 10 floors. And then we get 3 revolution or more every 10 floors and 150 of the shining revolution fragments. So that's not too bad, but again, not really. Like they could have done more in the weekly section. For the monthly missions, again, not really much either. They're going to do 250 at stage, 30, 60, whatever. And then they increase by 50 the revolution fragment every 10. And then they increase by 800 the shining revolution fragment. And by 10 the revolution ore. Not too bad, not too great, but still, it's something at least. And it kind of motivates you to push as much as you can. And that's about it, I would say. There is nothing else in this patch here. So we can go over the game and have a look at this guy, VARAGARV. So this guy is SSR purple tank, and actually it might be better in most cases when compared to Karaka. Even though Karaka is going to be basically unkillable no matter what, is going to have a lot of taunts, a lot of provokes, is really going to be a helpful unit overall. He also has defense shred and stuff. It can also deal quite a bit of damage when really invested in. This guy deals no damage. I didn't really play him that much, but his damage is almost non-existent. The only good thing is that his provoke is solid. His survivability is really, really, really good. And the fact that he can block HP regen is also really, really good addition. But there is a but. This guy, like, you need more investment than a Karaka. Like Karaka, if you give him exclusive equipment at plus 30 and a good enough um, Myongo set, is going to be extremely tanky and no dupes. This guy, kind of, not really, because he doesn't get the additional 30% magic and physical resistance that Karaka gets from his exclusive equipment. So it's a bit squishier if you don't really build him well. His HP regen block comes very late if you don't have him Rainbow 5, and that's what I have. Like I have him at 3 red, so I don't have the extra energy at the start of the game. So I don't know. Is definitely really a great unit, but the damage is not there. The survivability is really good. All in all, also taking into account the additional resistance from Yongle, it can really survive well. The increase in HP is pretty helpful if there are enemies that reduce the resistances too much, or if there is a little pierce, it can still somewhat survive. The extra defense also comes in handy. In PvP, this guy is probably like a lot tankier than Karaka if you invest in him. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend you guys to invest in this guy because Karaka is a lot cheaper to build, in my opinion, and it will work better in most cases. And fully maxed, Karaka can also deal a shit ton of damage. And this guy cannot. Again, I have to try more, but from a first glance, it doesn't really work that much. But okay. It's not a bad unit by any means. It's a great unit. Actually could be ranked on the same tier as Karaka, but needs for sure more copies. So I don't know. I've been using him at 3 red and works just fine, but I don't really see a lot of value out of his HP recovery block for one other reason. Vivi exists, and Vivi has HP recovery block already. These two are the only two units that have it, and unless you want to create a purple team without Vivi, the HP regen block is not really going to be too helpful. Now, Vivi only has its single target. This guy has it AoE. That's a huge plus for VARAGARV, but I wouldn't really stress too much. I mean, Vivi can kill Ghost, Vivi can kill Urek. You don't really care too much about having this guy with HP recovery block. Sure, if you don't want to use Vivi and you want to use him with Oakin, this guy is a must if you want to kill Urek. Ghost, not necessary. You can fairly easily kill Ghost with just Oakin. But yeah, I mean, I don't really see a reason why this guy would be mandatory to get. So in my opinion, you can just ignore him directly, especially now that we're approaching the anniversary. But again, if you already pulled for him, since I'm like more than 1 week late on making this video, no problem. This guy is still awesome. But yeah, if you did not pull for him because you were waiting for more information or whatever, I would say do not stress about him if you already have a zero dupes Karaka. I know that there are people that are getting better results with VARAGARV, but I think it's just because they were building Karaka wrong or something. This guy literally deals no damage at high deficit. Like, let me just see a few clears that I did recently. If you look at this one, we can see that he dealt no damage whatsoever. Like, okay, he dealt a bit more damage than a Uraha, but Ura deals zero. So he dealt something, but is really not comparable to anyone else in the team. Gustang dealt a bit of damage, but yeah, I mean, not enough. And Vivi with Sundance is just a monster. So she could deal quite a lot of damage, more than Noakin. So overall, she's a better unit, I think, than Noakin. She can just kill a lot of units that Noakin cannot kill, and she just deals a better job overall. And Sundance really boosts her damage a ton. So yeah, I really like that unit. And I think she's now probably a higher priority than Joaquin. But we'll see with the new T4 and T5 abilities upgrades what will really happen. Yeah, as you can see, this guy dealt very little damage, took quite a bit of it. It was really tanky, but I don't know, really nothing too important. If we look at also the previous clear, went pretty much the same. It dealt no damage whatsoever, and here Vivi just killed everyone quickly. The other fight, the damage was higher overall because Gustang was in the opposing team, so he kept healing enemies and the bots also received damage, etc., etc. But here, with just normal units, we can see how much damage Vivi does and how like no damage this guy actually deals. Now, I did not upgrade the gear yet. I will upgrade it soon, I would say. So I did not reach, actually, let me see the stats on this guy. Nope, misclick. All right, the stats on this guy are 109% magic resistance, 96% physical resistance. Let me just upgrade this piece. So it should go higher than 100% also on the other. All right. Okay, so now it's 106 physical resistance. And yeah, getting this amount of stats is good because then you get a 40% in both from Myeongul, and that will take you to like more than 140 in each, and that will help a ton against like regular Liroro, Waryun, the new one, Red Mask Waryun, and units that have shreds. That will help a ton. So overall, really, really good unit. But again, I wouldn't really bother too much if you already have a Karaka. Karaka can just survive, can just throw the aggro just fine. You don't need anything else. If you look at the skills, since I just talked about him uh, without going into details on what he does, we can see that the passive shares the same thing as Vespa. So for every other purple ally, he's going to get a defense increase. Then he's going to have a cooldown reduction on the black chain, which is a great skill. That's the provoke, basically. Every time he's hit, which is cool. And that effect is also going to be increased somewhere else, if I'm not mistaken, but let's have a look at it later. And every time a barrier from the black chain skill is destroyed, is going to create another barrier equal to 30% of the original one and recover 40% of his max HP, which is a ton. So his sustain is huge even without Myeongul. You could run him with a Sela early on if you have an harder time like surviving in the early stages and you cannot afford to wait for Myeongul to stack. That's a possibility. But I don't know. I would say Myeongul is better across the board. Maybe Sela is just early if you cannot really reach that 100% resistances, then in that case you could use that. But I would go with Myeongul every time. So that's the passive, really good passive overall, has really beneficial effects. Now the first active skill, the strongest regular, has a knockback that knocks the highest defense enemy to the edge of the battlefield for 4 seconds, really good crowd control. And if VARAGARV's max HP is higher than the target's, which in Adventure is not really that frequent, but he has a lot of HP increases, so it could happen. It will happen. He's also going to deal 20% of his max HP as additional damage, which is good. The thing is, as we also saw from the other damage, like this didn't really proc at all. So the damage he deals is not relevant. He's lower than Karaka, is lower than Awakened Rock. It doesn't really deal a lot of damage. So don't really bother with this. In addition, it deals 400% of his attack damage to enemies in range and knocks them back for 2 seconds. So the knockback here is pretty solid, pretty good. Yeah. Then we have the Black Chain, which is his main skill overall. He's going to deal 1200% of his attack as damage, whatever, and provoke them for 5 seconds. He's going to create a barrier equals to 100% of his max HP for 10 seconds. And when the barrier is destroyed, the enemy who destroyed the barrier takes 50% of the barrier amount as damage. Nothing much. The damage is not relevant. The barrier is nice, but not that needed in general. And the provoke is the main thing on this skill. 5 seconds is not a long amount, but is enough, I would say. With the effect from the passive that reduces the cooldown of it, you can quite reliably activate it. It's not going to be up 100% of the time, like, for example, Karaka that can pull it off a lot more easily, but it's still going to be pretty fine. Then we got the special move. This one is going to increase its max HP by 200% for 10 seconds. This is huge. And it's going to summon 3 dogs that are going to charge at enemies, dealing damage. The amount of damage is relevant, as we saw. If there is another enemy nearby, the dogs charge at them as well. So it's pretty good. It's an AoE HP recovery block because enemies bitten by a dog have their HP recovery blocked for 10 seconds and take 2% of VARAGARV's max HP as bullet damage every second. Now, the thing is also that you want accuracy on this guy because if you don't have accuracy, do not even think about the HP recovery block is going to apply at all. So it's kind of also tricky. You want that accuracy also from these piece. I should increase this one because mine doesn't really have a ton of it. I'm still below the enemy evasion. So I have to like improve some stuff that will give him accuracy, especially this piece. And I don't know if it's really a worthwhile investment in general. So I don't know. I kind of prefer Karaka in my opinion. Is better, more solid, and has higher damage potential later on. And as I said, Vivi has HP recovery block. Unless you want to create a team without her, you don't need VARAGARV necessarily. So yeah, that's pretty much the thing with him. If we look at the exclusive equipment, the additional effects, level 1 is really a really great skill. It's going to decrease the resistance of enemies provoked by 30% for 10 seconds. This is not a bad debuff. This is actually a really good one. 30% is not a high amount, but we have Joaquin that already has the physical resistance decrease in his kit. Plus, this guy is going to get to like 50%, probably more. I don't remember exactly how much Joaquin has. And it's going to be a really good decrease that Vivi is going to benefit from. So I think these 3 units should all stay together if you really want to play this guy. And yeah, it's not a bad one, the level 1. Level 2, just whatever, is a max HP increase by 10% until the end of the battle every time he uses a skill, which is good. It stacks and it helps proc the additional damage, but it's not really that much damage. HP is not really that important in general because you have a ton of resistances anyway, so it's just fine. Then he has a huge HP recovery whenever he has a barrier active. 10% of his max HP per second is huge. So that's really insane. That part is insane, though you don't really need it. Again, it's probably more for PvP stuff. Like in PvP, this guy will probably be a monster because he has a lot of HP, a lot of defense, a lot of HP recovery, a lot of barriers. Is not like in PvP, I think this guy is a lot more important than he is in adventure. But again, is not necessary, I think. The lifesteal that you get from the exclusive equipment is also kind of weird. Why would you need lifesteal? It already heals a ton and it deals no damage. So this is really useless. Had it been magic resistance, would have been a ton like a lot better, but it's fine. The last one is going to be level 4. VARAGARV unleashes the Blood Tamara when his HP falls below 30%, increasing his max HP by 50% for 10 seconds, just a minor thing, making him invincible for 3 seconds, that's good, and resetting the cooldown of Black Chain. This is also really good. So this guy is going to like have a cheat death effect that makes him invincible for 3 seconds. Is going to restore a lot of HP because he's going to use Black Chain. Black Chain creates a barrier, and then he gets the HP from the passive when the barrier is destroyed, and also HP every second while the barrier is active. So overall, this is a really good cheat death effect. It won't come in handy that much if you have a well-built one with a lot of resistances, but it's definitely a really helpful active skill to get. Now, what else is there to talk about? I would say just the revolution, but we don't have tier 4 and tier 5 yet. I would say the most important ones at the moment are just the HP node. We don't really need the defense one at the moment. And you can get some effect resistance. I wouldn't do it now because we have the spending event for the orange fragments with anniversary, so I would not do it. But the only node you really need is this one, the effect resistance, and everything else is irrelevant. The HP recovery per second, unnecessary, since he already recovers 10% max HP when he has a barrier, and the rest we don't know yet. So we'll see when those details are out. I already added him in the investment tab. As we can see here, we have no picture yet because I don't have it. This unit is not on Pridewin yet, and that's where I usually got my profile pictures from. So I haven't uploaded it, but whatever. We have the rest of the information here. I still haven't given him a rank because I have to play more. I will at least give him an S tier in adventure, probably S plus in PvP, but I'm not the best at PvP again, so I might have to ask for other people's opinions. But yeah, I would say adventure is most likely at the very least S with, well, no, probably a Rainbow 5. We could say S plus for both. I think that's fairly reasonable, but again, he has the same niche as Karaka, and Karaka can keep the provoke up a bit more. Karaka doesn't have the HP recovery block, but doesn't really matter, as I said, unless you want to omit using VV. I think now the page is not aligned really well in my stream because I moved it for the dev notes and the other thing, but whatever. If you use VV, you don't need VARAGARV. That's more or less how to sum it up. Here I added some investment, purple. I put recommended Rainbow 5 instead of Orange 4 because Orange 4 would have been okay for the HP, but Rainbow 5 I think is really good to have to be able to proc the HP recovery reduction earlier. If you don't have, well, actually, wait, I have to increase this one to level 6 because you need the accuracy for the dog to bite and the HP recovery block to apply. So yeah, and I don't think you need any higher than 30 in the exclusive equipment because as we saw, it gets lifesteal. Lifesteal is useless. And wait a second, I haven't changed this one. Yeah, I just copied the stat from the Verdi here. So I have to change this one. Okay, as a stake, as a gift. Let's write it out. Stake. Myongol is the set I would run on him. And yeah, T2 is where you should stop in Revolution. Tier 3 is just a nice to have, but again, all of this information for the SSR units will change once we get tier 4 to 6. The rest of the investment is more or less the usual one. You will still want here the accuracy as the second piece of gear that you upgrade. Crit damage and crit rate are just a nice to have, but again, not really important. We could even say it's 0 here, but I just wanted to mention it as it could be okay to have more damage. It's the same as Karaka, basically, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's the same as Karaka, pretty much. But his damage is really low, unless, like, if you guys could make him deal a ton of damage, let me know, but I don't really see him dealing that much, to be honest. And then the same here for the Myongo set, the ignition weapon upgrades. Slot 4 and slot 5 are the priority with resistances. Then I would say HP has the other highest priority, which should be slot 2 or slot, well, what is that? Let me check. No, slot 2 is defense. So HP is slot 3. Slot 3 would have probably a higher priority here, but doesn't really matter because you're not going to outgrow the enemy HP with just the ignition weapon. So to me, that's fine. The minimal amount of investment is just these two pieces. Then you get additional HP, additional defense. Maybe I could even say defense. Let's do it at plus 12 there. just to highlight the fact that HP is more important. And then that's pretty much it. Let me know if you have any doubts, if you have any additional opinion on this guy. And yeah, again, is solid, is good. I just wouldn't really bother too much in general. It's better to save for the anniversary. You don't need this unit if you already have Vivi. That's what I would say. Then thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it was helpful for you. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.